Hello guys, welcome back to your English manual. This is the chapter 3 of our Common Mistakes series. In the previous chapters, we explained the difference between a subject and an object, and also what a clause is. Now that this foundation has been laid, we can start talking about a little less technical topics and ones that English students usually get wrong.
As we said in chapter 1, we need to explain better this object pronoun thing. So let's go, because today we'll talk about the subject pronouns and the object pronouns.
As usual, here in the channel, we're starting from the beginning. After all, what are pronouns? Well, the word pronoun comes from Latin and means pro, in place of, and nomen, name. In other words, it's a word used instead of another one to replace it.
And why is that important? Simple. Pay attention to this. Mary has books. Mary likes books. What is strange about what I said? Exactly what you're thinking. Why so much repetition? How boring. Wouldn't it be better to substitute this Mary and this books for other words? So let's say it this way. Mary has books. She likes them. It sounds better, doesn't it? Without repeating so much. Well, that's what the pronouns are for.
In this case, we have the pronouns she and them, but these pronouns have different functions in this sentence. Both of them are replacing things, but she is a subject pronoun, while them is an object pronoun. So, to understand better, we have to know what a subject and an object are. We've already explained this difference in the first chapter. If you don't remember it, we suggest you first watch that video and then continue this one, okay? So let's understand the subject pronouns and the object pronouns.
Well, you must already kind of know what a subject pronoun is, right? The name itself kind of gives it away. But anyways, a subject pronoun is something that replaces, since it's a pronoun, the subject, the one that usually performs the action in a sentence. Simple, isn't it? Let's remember that example from the beginning. Mary has books. Mary likes books. We have two sentences here. Mary has books and Mary likes books. Now let's put into practice what we saw at the beginning. Let's see the first sentence. Mary has books. First step. What's the verb? To have. Second step. Who performs the action of having? Mary. So the subject of the sentence is Mary. Now the second sentence. Mary likes books. First step. What's the verb? To like. Second step, who performs the action of liking? Mary. Then, the subject of the sentence is also Mary. So, why repeat Mary? Let's use a pronoun in its place. But what pronoun? Well, if Mary is the subject of the sentence, we have to use a subject pronoun. And what are the subject pronouns?
While we say what the subject pronouns are, we are going to explain the persons. We can divide any conversation in three persons: the first person, the second person, and the third person. Each of them can come in singular or plural. Now let's take it slowly. When we are in a conversation, usually we are talking one-on-one, right? It's one person talking to another person. The person who's talking is always called the first person. They are kind of considered the most important one. The person who's listening, in other words, the person that the first person is talking to, is called the second person. Let's see an example. I like English. The first person is I, and I am talking about myself. You like English. The first person is I, and I am talking about the second person, which is you. So it's like this. The first person, I, is talking to the second person, you. Simple, right? But what if I'm not talking about me and I'm not talking about you? What if I'm talking about another person? In other words, in this conversation between two people, what if I'm talking about a third person? For example, what if I'm talking about my father or about my mother? In this case, the third person would be my father, he, or my mother, she. If I say to you, my father likes English, what we have here is that the first person, I, is talking to the second person, you, about the third person, he, my father. Well, in the example that we gave, since I am only one person, I am called the first person singular. Similarly, since Ivan is just one person, he is called the second person singular. And also, since my father is only one person, he is called the third person singular. So far so good, right? In the example we gave, the first person I, the second person you, and the third person he are all singular, aren't they? But the one who speaks, in other words, the first person, can be part of a group, right? For example, Gabi, the first person, can be talking about herself and about another person at the same time. For example, what if I were talking about myself and about Ivan? Think with me. If I say I like English, I'm talking only about myself. But maybe Ivan also likes English, so I can also include him. In other words, I can say, for example, we like English. In this case, I am talking about myself, but also about another person. It's like I, the first person, was part of a group. And that's what we call the first person plural. It's the person who's talking and someone else.
In a similar way, it's possible that the first person is saying something to more than one person. If that happens, we have another group called the second person plural. And it's also possible that the first person is talking to the second person about more than one person. In this case, we have one last group called the third person plural. Alright? Now that we understand the persons, let's see the subject pronouns. In order, we have first person singular, I. Second person singular, you. Third person singular masculine, he. Third person singular feminine, she. Third person singular neuter, it. First person plural, we. Second person plural, you. Third person plural, they. In the example we gave, we have the first person talking to the second person about a third person, which is Mary. Since Mary is only one, it is considered third person singular. Besides, since it's a woman, we can say that Mary is she, right? Anyways, so if we have to replace the subject Mary, we can use the subject pronoun she. Therefore, we can say Mary has books. She likes books.
Cool! We've solved the problem of repeating the subject. But now we continue with the other problem. We are repeating the word books. What now? Let's see. In the example, Mary has books, she likes books, Mary is the subject of the first sentence and she is the subject of the second one, right? And what are the objects? In the first sentence, Mary has books, we can ask, what does Mary have? Books. So it is the object. In the second sentence, she likes books, we can ask, what does she like? Books. So it is the object too. Wait. So we are also repeating the object in both sentences. So let's substitute the object books for an object pronoun. And what are the object pronouns?
The object pronouns are, in order, first person singular, me, second person singular, you, third person singular masculine, him, third person singular feminine, her, third person singular neuter, it, first person plural, us, second person plural, you, third person plural, them. Now, this is an image comparing the subject pronouns and the object pronouns, so you can see the differences between them better. Books are them, right? So, if we have to substitute the object books, we can use the object pronoun them. Therefore, we can say Mary has books. She likes them.
Well, all the persons we've listed have equivalents in Portuguese, with the exception of one, the third person singular neuter. Both the subject pronoun and the object pronoun of this person are represented by it. Honestly, we have many things to talk about it, so we're still going to make a video about it because it's really important in the English language. But for now, let's see the basic.
Okay, after all, what does neuter mean? In some languages, like Portuguese, the words have genders. For example, when we say a menina, we know that we're talking about a word of the feminine gender, since the noun menina is feminine, right? In the same way, if we say o menino, we know that we're talking about a word of the masculine gender, since the noun menino is masculine, isn't it?
Up until this moment, everything is the same in Portuguese and in English. With people, we use the feminine pronouns for women. In singular, we have ela in Portuguese and the equivalent she in English. In plural, we have elas in Portuguese and the equivalent they in English. The same goes for men. We use the masculine pronouns. In singular, we have ele in Portuguese and the equivalent he in English. In plural, we have eles in Portuguese and the equivalent they in English. See? They works both as elas and as eles, and this is very important, but one thing at a time.
The main issue is that everything in Portuguese has a gender, not just the people. Animals, plants, and things also have a gender in Portuguese. We say, eu comprei a cadeira, ela é confortável, because cadeira is a feminine noun, so it needs the feminine article a, and we use the feminine pronoun ela. We also say, eu comprei o computador, eu adorei ele, because computador is a masculine noun, so it needs the masculine article o, and we use the masculine pronoun ele. But this is so confusing for Americans, because for them, most words don't have a gender. For example, in general, animals, plants, and things don't have a gender. That's why they need a gender-neutral pronoun to represent all of this. In the examples we gave, the version in English would be, I bought the chair, it is comfortable. And I bought the computer, I loved it. See?
But there is a very important detail. Remember that we said third person singular neuter? The singular part is crucial. This means that we only use it to represent animals, plants, things, anyway, in singular. That's why we translate it to ele or ela in Portuguese. If we're talking about animals, plants, things in plural, in other words, if it's more than one, we use eles or elas, whose equivalent is they. Examples: I bought the chairs, they are very comfortable. And I bought the dogs, I loved them. So don't forget, it is only for singular, okay? Well, before moving forward, we need to talk about one of the most common mistakes that students make, using it when they're not supposed to.
Remember, it is a pronoun. This means that it replaces something. So if this something is there in the sentence, in the place where it's supposed to be, there's no reason for it to appear.
This goes for any pronoun, but it's just that people in general get confused only with it.
Many people say, for example, my computer, it's good. But this kind of structure is wrong. It is used for objects, for example. So if you're going to talk about your computer, you can say, my computer is good. Or if the person already knows that you're talking about your computer, you can replace my computer with it and say just, it is good. But putting both together and saying, my computer, it's good, is not possible.
If you say that, it's like you're saying, my brother, he's intelligent. He is also a pronoun, so we substitute something. In that example, my brother would be replaced by he. In other words, you either say, my brother is intelligent or he is intelligent, but you can't say both together, okay?
If you are in doubt whether to put it or not, try to see who the subject of the sentence is, asking the verb. For example, in order to find out who the subject is in that sentence we gave, you just have to ask, who is intelligent? And the answer is he. If there is already a subject there, which is he, there is no reason to put another subject, like it. So it's simple. If you are already saying the subject of the sentence at the beginning of it, where it's supposed to be anyways, don't put it nor any other pronoun, okay?
Now let's go back. We already know that the object pronouns work as the object of a verb. For example, Ivan loves her. But the thing is that they can also work as the object of a preposition.
That's right, but the method is the same. Remember that we find a verb and ask it what or whom to discover its subject. For example, in the sentence, Ivan loves her, we find the verb loves and ask it loves whom? And the answer is the object of this verb, which in the sentence is her.
With the preposition, it's the same thing. You will find the preposition and ask it what or whom to know its subject.
Let's see some examples. He does that for she or her. Which one is correct? She or her? First step. What's the verb? to do. Second step, who performs the action of doing or who does? Answer, he. So he is the subject of the sentence. Third step, who suffers the action of being done or he does what? Answer, that. So that is the direct object of the verb to do. However, there's still another step. Since we have the preposition for, we have to discover the object of this preposition. To do that, we'll ask, he does that for whom? The answer is she or her. So she or her is the object of the preposition for. Since it works as an object of a preposition in this case, we must use the object pronoun her. The correct way then is he does that for her.
One more. I play with he or him. First step, what's the verb? To play. Second step, who performs the action of playing or who plays? Answer, I. So I is the subject of this sentence. With is a preposition, so we must discover its object. Then we ask, I play with whom? Answer, he or him. So he or him is the object of the preposition with in this sentence. Since it's acting as an object, instead of using the subject pronoun he, we have to use the object pronoun him. Therefore, the correct sentence is, I play with him.
Just one more. She gives presents to they or them. First step, what's the verb? To give. Second step, who performs the action of giving or who gives? Answer, she. So she is the subject of the sentence. Third step, who suffers the action of being given or she gives what? Answer, presents. So presents is the direct object of the verb to give in the sentence. But we still have the preposition to. We have to discover its object. So we ask, she gives presents to whom? Answer, they or them. So they or them is the object of the preposition to in the sentence. Therefore, instead of using the subject pronoun they, we have to use the object pronoun them. Hence, the correct sentence is, she gives presents to them.
Now that we know the difference between a subject pronoun and an object pronoun, we can answer, for example, a question that several students have had. Is the correct form you and I or you and me? And the answer is, it depends. If you analyze it well, this question basically narrows down to asking, is the correct form I or me? Because you is in both of them.
And that's the problem. This question only exists because the subject pronoun you has the same spelling and pronunciation of the object pronoun you. But the subject pronoun I is different from the object pronoun me, isn't it? So, the difference between you and I and you and me is very simple. In the first one, we have you and I, two subject pronouns. In the second one, we have you and me, two object pronouns. And what did we learn in this video? If you are talking about the subject of the sentence, you must use I. If it's the object, you must use me. Simple as that.
Let's see some examples to illustrate. What's the correct form? You and I need to study English, or you and me need to study English? Let's go. First step. What's the verb? To need. Second step. Who performs the action of needing or who needs? Answer, you and I or you and me. So, you and I or you and me is the subject of the sentence. Since it's the subject, we must say you and I. Therefore, the correct sentence is you and I need to study English.
Another example. She wants to help you and I, or she wants to help you and me. First step. What's the verb? To want to help. Second step. Who performs the action of wanting to help? Or who wants to help? Answer, she. So she is the subject. Third step. She wants to help whom? Answer, you and I or you and me. Then, you and I or you and me is the direct object of the sentence. Since it's the object, we have to say you and me. So, the correct sentence is she wants to help you and me.
Another thing, remember what we said about the prepositions? So let's check this example. If I say she goes with you and I or she goes with you and me, which one is correct? First step, what's the verb? To go. Second step, who goes? Answer, she. So she is the subject. In this sentence, we have the preposition with, so we have to discover the object of this preposition. We ask, she goes with whom? Answer, you and I or you and me. Then, you and I or you and me is the object of the preposition with in this sentence. Since it works as an object, we must use an object pronoun. Therefore, the right way is she goes with you and me.
To finish, let's give the answer to today's challenge. What's the correct form in the sentence? Between you and me, I don't like her, or between you and I don't like her? Well, maybe some of you could think that it's I, since it's at the beginning of the sentence. But remember that this is not what differentiates a subject pronoun from an object pronoun. It's the function of it.
Remember that we said that an object pronoun can be the object of a preposition. Well, in this sentence, the pronoun is the object of the preposition between. So the right way is to use an object pronoun. Therefore, the correct form is between you and me.
If you look at it from another angle, it's as if we were saying, this is between you and me. I don't like her. The subject would be this, and you and me would be the objects of the preposition between. Anyways, just a hint.
Well, so that's it, guys. We hope that you guys liked the video and learned a lot. To make sure you understand well, we recommend you practice a lot not to make any mistakes, okay?
To help, we put a list of exercises in the description of this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and share this video. Let's help as many people as possible to learn this. See you next time.
Bye!